So this week, it's time to answer your questions. Usually once a week on Instagram, I ask all of you, what are your fertility questions so that I can answer as many as I possibly can. And this week I got so many, I couldn't answer all of them, which is why I'm doing this video to fill in the missing questions and to answer them right here for all of you. If you're excited about this, then please make sure to give me a like and a thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you've got questions or comments on the fertility questions that I'm going to answer here. And more importantly, if you've got your own fertility questions, please make sure to leave those in the comment section as well. And subscribe so that you can get the best fertility tips on how to get pregnant as fast as possible. In case you are new here, this is Fertility TV, your place to be when you are trying to get pregnant, improve your health, and get to the root cause of your fertility struggles. I've helped thousands of women improve their fertility and get pregnant over the last 20 years that I have been a fertility expert. And I've helped them find out what's not letting them get pregnant, develop a personalized fertility plan for them, and give them ongoing support while following the plan to improve their health and fertility along the way. To make it easier for you, I've created a free guide that you can download right now. So take a look at the 7 steps that you are going to get to help you empower your fertility from home right now, totally free. Just to download it, all you have to do is use the link in the description below. All right, now let's jump into answering those questions, shall we? All right, so the first question says, first 2 to 3 days of my period is spotting, and then 4 to 5 days of normal heavy bleeding. Is this okay? So in general, yes, the length of time is fine. I think 4 to 5 days of a good, healthy bleed. And in this case, she said normal and heavy. So I'm imagining it's a combination of that, right? That is completely normal and fine. Those first 2 to 3 days of spotting, ideally, I don't want to see. What I'd like to see is that you start your bleed without any spotting or very, very minimal, let's just say in the morning, and then you start to bleed right after that. Those first 2 to 3 days of bleed is really not ideal. I don't mind, however, the taper. So if you are tapering as your bleed finishes at the end, so on her, let's just say 4th or 5th day, if she was tapering and kind of spotting from there, that wouldn't bother me at all. That's normal. These spottings on the first 2 to 3 days, that tells me if it's consistent, then we want to start to look for why that's happening. One of the more common reasons that we might see something like this would be endometriosis. We might also see this if there are any polyps or cysts. So we want to start to rule those things out, but this should be like a sign that tells you to reach out to your healthcare provider or your OBGYN to get more information and hopefully get some answers. All right. Question number 2, does high cholesterol affect fertility? What are some ways to lower my cholesterol, or in this case, her LDLs? So we do have to think about a couple different things when we are talking about all of our lab work. And in this case, she's talking about cholesterol. So if anything is off in our body, it can impact over time our reproductive function and our hormones. Cholesterol is definitely one of those things that we could see impact it. When you are looking at a cascade of hormones, meaning how one hormone feeds into the other and supports the other and so forth down the line, actually at the top of that cascade is cholesterol. Now, we don't think of cholesterol as a hormone, we think of it as a fat, and most of you think of it negatively. But yes, it is a hormone and it is at the top of that cascade, and it's not always so bad. You know, cholesterol can be important here. One of the things that I find, if cholesterol is not hereditary, right? So if your high cholesterol is not something that's genetic and not caused by your diet, which often can be the case, then what we often find is that the reason for that is because, and we will see it in your hormone panel as well, is that there's something going on with your hormones down below the cascade, and your body's trying to impact that. It's trying to adjust those hormones. And as a result, it's just going up the line and it goes to the top, which is cholesterol, and it's trying to raise that to influence down the line of the hormone cascade. And so that is something that we can see. Ideally, if we're going to see that, what we'd like to see is that your good cholesterol, your HDLs, are actually elevated and your LDLs are lower. I think we also, by the way, kind of put too much emphasis on cholesterol in our culture. We get all wrapped up in it. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm saying that I think it's a little bit overdone. And over the years, that normal level has come down considerably, which makes all of us sometimes be looked at as high cholesterol, have high cholesterol. So I want to take that with a grain of salt. I do want you to make sure you're exercising regularly, make sure you are eating properly and getting good healthy fats instead of the bad fats that will feed that LDL. And then make sure we're supporting your hormones as well so that it's not causing an impact higher up the cascade like you can do with cholesterol. All right, question number 3. What is one supplement that I can take to improve my egg quality? I'm basically saying that's what she's asking. She says one supplement to improve egg quality, which is just a generic question. So I do want to answer in a couple of different ways. One is, do you know that you actually need egg quality support? You might not need it, right? So again, if you haven't tested all the proper hormones, if you haven't looked at that information, then I would encourage you to make sure you are able to do that first and foremost. And then if you need to have a supplement because you know that that's off, then definitely, there is something that can be done. The second thing that I want to say about that before I get into the supplement is, do we know what else needs to be done? Like, are there other areas, other systems that are impacting your egg quality that are being ignored or missed? I don't want to ignore those. I don't want to miss those. I want to make sure those are being addressed as well. But if we're coming back to one supplement to support all your egg quality fertility needs, then I do recommend one specific, and it's actually going to be 2, but I'm going to start with one. It's called Rejuva Eggs. This is a new product that is out and actually created by me and 2 other fertility experts, Amy Raup and Dr. Murphy. And the 3 of us have created this product and a couple others to really fill in the missing pieces that are there when it comes to fertility and fertility supplements. So I would highly recommend Rejuva Eggs. I will put that link in the description below for you. And if you really need to boost egg quality support, then I would also pair that with Rejuva Repair, which is an amazing antioxidant to support mitochondrial function, and it enhances the effects of Rejuva Eggs. So we'll leave that link in the description below for you to check out, but that would be what I would recommend. This next question says, if I have one tube open and I have been trying for 2 years, can I take Clomid to help get pregnant? So I think these are essentially 2 different questions that we need to answer. The short answer here is yes. You could take Clomid with one fallopian tube open and it would be justifiable. You've been trying for 2 years, so that would be justifiable to look at some other options, but they are not necessarily impacting, each other, right? Your fallopian tube is one thing. Taking Clomid to stimulate your ovaries to produce more follicles or better mature follicles is a separate thing. So you can take the Clomid. We do need to make sure that your hormones look properly, that your ovaries are looking okay and healthy enough to take that and respond to it. And then the other question is, what do we do about, your fallopian tube, which may or may not be something that can be supported. Additionally, if you are stimulating and your dominant follicles are on the side, she didn't say which fallopian tube, so I can't comment on it, but here, it's easier to do it this way. If this fallopian tube is blocked, and with the Clomid, you are stimulating, this ovary has the dominant follicles in it, okay? Then it's gonna be harder to get pregnant that cycle because this fallopian tube is not able to get these eggs out of here. It would mean that this fallopian tube would have to come over and grab those eggs, which can happen. It's less likely, and that means your chances of conceiving that cycle are lower, okay? So it's just something to be mindful of in the bigger picture. I will say, if you've been trying for 2 years and you haven't gotten the proper support and you haven't made enough, the proper changes to see a change and an impact in your fertility, that might be also something that you could look at and check out. And that's something that my team and I can certainly help you with. And the members of my Hope program have certainly experienced themselves. But more importantly, you should really get some additional support beyond just taking Clomid to make sure that everything else is looking okay. Okay, this is an interesting question. This next one, it says, I'm diagnosed with POF, premature ovarian failure. Can BHRT help me conceive? So BHRT stands for bioidentical hormone therapy, okay? And that's where someone might actually take estrogen or progesterone. Those are usually the ones that are given, but you could add in testosterone or DHEA. And this is usually done either in a cream or a specially formulated compounding pharmacy that would specially formulate that combination of hormones to support the deficiencies that we're seeing in your hormone levels. So essentially, yes, this can be done. It's not my preferred way to handle it. I would prefer to look at what those deficiencies are, look at what other imbalances are there, and then try to support that in as natural a way as possible. Not saying that bioidentical hormones are not natural. However, your body will become more dependent on those, and that could become an issue. The time where I do think that this can be valuable and can be helpful is in women who are older, whose hormone levels are definitely impacted as they age. And this is also, by the way, typically where you would use bioidentical hormone therapy. And I have seen this done in IVF clinics, specific IVF clinics, not all IVF clinics, where they have been able to incorporate some of these hormones to support a healthy, regular menstrual cycle and follicular maturation, and hopefully support your healthy hormone balance. So it can be done. It's not my ideal method. IVF kind of does something like this. So if you're going to do this, my assumption would be that you'd also be going through IVF, in vitro fertilization, to get the proper support so they can kind of be used in conjunction with one another. And that's typically where I see that happen. All right, thanks so much for watching until the end. I hope you found this video helpful and the answer super helpful. If you have questions for me, please make sure to follow this video, follow me on Instagram, and you can always leave those questions there. And you can also leave those questions right now here down below in the comment sections, and I will do the best I can to answer your questions as you leave them. If you want to really go deep into your fertility and find the root cause that's not allowing you to get pregnant and improve your fertility, then I want to encourage you to fill out the application to join me and all the other members, the hundreds of other members in the HOPE program, my HOPE program. You can do that by filling out the application using the link in the description below. And if you qualify, you get to speak to a real human on my team that will identify if you are a good fit to join my HOPE program and a good fit to make change and get the results that you are looking for. Now, make sure to check out this video to keep learning more about your fertility. I'll leave that right over here and down below in the description below. And until the next video, stay fertile.